Welcome to Dreamy Sleep Tales. Today, I'm taking you on an unforgettable journey into a hidden forest where every petal glows and ancient secrets whisper on the breeze. Have you ever wondered what happens when dreams and reality collide beneath the canopy of an enchanted woodland? Stay with me, and by the end of this video, you'll discover how one brave soul awakens a dying magic and learns that hope can bloom even in the darkest shadows. So grab your coziest blanket, settle in, and let's step through the glowing petals together. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a new bedtime adventure. Elowen stood at the edge of her village, just as dawn's first blush painted the sky in soft pinks and golds. The morning mist curled around the thatched roofs like curious spirits, and the air was moist with dew. She inhaled, tasting a hint of jasmine carried faintly on the breeze. Today felt different. Today something was calling to her. The evening before, as Elowen sorted herbs behind her aunt's cottage, she had stumbled upon a single petal shimmering like molten amber. It lay atop a wooden barrel, glowing faintly in the lamplight. When she picked it up, warmth surged through her fingers, and she'd felt a tug at her heart, as if the forest beyond the village were beckoning. This morning, the petals had multiplied into a narrow trail. Sapphire blue blooms, coral reds, and golden petals that glowed like embers. They wound between the cottages and out toward the great forest of Lumora in the east, a place all villagers whispered about, but none dared enter. Legends told of trees that walked at night, of fair folk who lured travelers into hidden realms, of a heart tree whose roots sustained magic itself. But Elowen was not afraid. Or perhaps she did not know fear. She had grown up an orphan, her memories of her parents as hazy as fog at noon. Raised by her kindly Aunt Mara, she had learned to tend the apothecary's garden, to quiet her restless spirit with herbs and poultices. Yet lately she felt incomplete, as though a missing piece of her soul lay somewhere beyond those ancient oaks. Stepping carefully among the petals, Elowen crossed the boundary of Lumora without thinking twice. The woodland greeted her like an old friend. Carved trunks loomed overhead, their bark patterned in swirling runes. Vines draped between branches, studded with luminescent blossoms that pulsed gently with life. The undergrowth was awash in blooms of every hue: fuchsia foxgloves, turquoise tulips, and flame-colored marigolds. Each petal seemed to hum with hidden magic. A winding path of cobblestones, worn smooth by countless travelers, led deeper into the woods. Elowen paused, resting her hand on a mossy boulder. The forest's heartbeat thrummed through her palm. She closed her eyes and listened. "Help me." The word reverberated through the trees, soft as a whisper, yet impossible to ignore. Elowen's heart fluttered. She opened her eyes to see a slender stag, its coat silvery white as moonlight, standing between two great oaks. Its antlers branched like crystalline trees, and its eyes shone with ancient wisdom. "Ayala," it murmured in a voice that echoed in Elowen's mind. She did not know how she understood, yet every thought the stag shared was as clear as speech. "Lumora weakens, the heart tree dims. Only you, child of two worlds, can restore its light." Elowen's breath caught. "Child of two worlds," she whispered aloud, and the woods answered in a sigh of rustling leaves. "I once guarded this forest when balance was whole," Ayala continued. "But darkness crept in. The heart tree's light wanes, and with it, the barrier between dreams and reality frays. Strange creatures spill into the mortal realm. Villagers vanish, drawn by the forest's sorrow." Elowen's mind raced. She thought of the missing travelers, of Aunt Mara's worried eyes when she'd asked about the strange lights in the woods. She bent to pick up one of the glowing petals. It throbbed like a pulse. "If you follow the path," Ayala said, "you will meet the 7 guardians who once vowed to protect Lumora. Each realm they oversee is out of balance. Shadows that sing with malice, waters that freeze time, blossoms that bleed sorrow. Collect their sigils, rekindle their spirits, and return to the heart tree." Elowen rose, determination blazing in her heart. "I will do it," she vowed. "But why me? Your parents were the last to wield the twin gifts, born of the mortal coil, yet touched by dreams. Only you carry both, Elowen of the amber eyes. She pressed her fingers to her temples, recalling the stories Aunt Mara had always hushed whenever she asked about her lineage. That morning, as a glimmer of hope shimmering in her chest, Elowen stepped forward. The forest darkened around her as she pressed deeper beneath the canopy. Golden shafts of light grew rarer, replaced by a dim twilight that seemed to cling to every branch. Soon, the path descended into a hollow encircled by towering oaks whose boughs entwined overhead, blotting out the sky. Here, the air was heavy and still. Elowen halted. The hush felt unnatural, as if the forest were holding its breath. A low melody drifted through the gloom, soft and mournful, sung in voices that wove together like strands of silk. She followed the sound until she reached a clearing where shadows moved like dancers across mossy stones. Figures cloaked in shifting darkness drifted around a central pool of obsidian water. Their song curled around Elowen's mind, promising comfort, escape, oblivion even. A tall figure stepped from the ring of shadows. Its face was hidden beneath a hood. Its hands clasped around a lantern, flickering with pale light. "Child of dreams," it intoned, voice echoing as though from every corner of the clearing. "You come, seeking the sigil of shadows." Elowen swallowed. I have come to restore balance." The stranger's hood fell back, revealing a marble white mask carved into an expression of sorrow. "This realm once sung of memory and hope," the masked guardian said. "But despair seeped into every heart, twisting light into darkness. To reclaim this sigil, you must step into the song, face your grief, your regrets. Only then can you break the melody's curse." Her pulse thumping, Elowen closed her eyes. The song swelled, lifting her off her feet. Visions flickered behind her eyelids. Her first home, bright with laughter. Her mother's lullaby. The day she discovered the glowing flower. Aunt Mara's worried face as she laid out herbs. Each memory glowed with bittersweet warmth until they soured, twisted by loss. She saw herself alone in the night, crying out for comfort. She felt the sting of yearning in her chest. And then she remembered the stag's gentle eyes and its plea for help. She breathed, gathering courage. "I choose hope," she declared, voice steady. The music faltered, then stuttered into silence. Light bloomed from her chest, bathing the clearing in golden radiance. The shadows recoiled, unraveling like smoke in the wind. When the light dimmed, the masked guardian stood before her, hand extended. "You have freed this realm. Accept the sigil of shadows." From its palm floated a small obsidian disc etched with silvery runes. Elowen took it, feeling its cold weight. The guardian bowed, then faded like mist. A path of crushed petals, jet black flecked with starlight, opened beyond the pool, leading deeper into Lumora. A hush of frost greeted Elowen as she followed the newly formed path. Icicles hung from branches. Every leaf was sheathed in glass. With each breath, her exhale formed clouds that drifted between twisted trunks. Here, time moved differently. A bird mid-flap hung motionless in the air. A stream of water was frozen in its tumble over mossy rocks. Elowen lifted her hand to a fluttering butterfly suspended above a patch of snow-speckled wildflowers. It quivered, but did not move. Ahead, she noticed footprints, her own, unopened in the layer of frost. Beyond them stood a crystalline archway, carved with scenes of frozen moments. Lovers at the brink of a kiss, children leaping from a tree, an old traveler pausing at a crossroads, all trapped in mid-motion. A voice called from within the arch. "Why do you disturb the stillness, child of two worlds?" From the ice stepped a tall figure clad in shimmering frost. Her hair was spun from snowdrifts. Her eyes were pools of deepest blue. "I am Lysandra, guardian of frozen time," she said. "My sorrow made me pause time itself, to hold on to moments I could not bear to lose." Elowen's breath caught. Is there no way to unfreeze them? Lysandra's expression was pained. "Not until I release my grief. To free this realm, you must choose to let go of one cherished memory. Sacrifice it to the river of time." Elowen hesitated. She thought of her parents, her mother's lullaby, her father's warm embrace. She could not bear to lose them forever. But she also remembered the stag's trust, the villagers' hope, and a future yet unwritten. I will sacrifice the memory of my first step into the forest, she said, her voice steady despite the ache in her heart. But I will carry everything else forward. Lysandra's tears of ice dripped to the ground, shattering with tinkling chimes. Time quivered and then returned. The bird's wing fluttered, the stream gurgled onward, and the clearing seemed to hum with renewed life. Lysandra pressed a silver snowflake-shaped sigil into Elowen's hand. Go forth, child. Only 2 realms remain. Elowen pressed on along the starlit petal-strewn path. The air grew cooler and sweeter, carrying the soft murmur of water, lapping against unseen banks. Soon she found herself at the edge of a vast lake whose surface was as smooth and mirror-bright as polished glass. Above, branches arched in a vaulted canopy, their leaves silvered by the lake's pale glow. A gentle wind rippled the water, and with it, the reflections shifted. Elowen saw herself standing on a moonlit shore, though no moon shone overhead. The image wavered, showing scenes from her past. The day she discovered the first glowing petal, the laughter of villagers as children danced around her, the moment she chose to let go of her memory in the frozen realm. A voice whispered from the depths, "Child of 2 worlds, why do you disturb the whispering waters?" Stepping forward, Elowen called softly, "I seek the sigil of waters to heal Lumora." From the lake's center rose a grace-woven nymph, her body made of rippling currents and droplet-bright crystals. Her hair cascaded like a waterfall. Her eyes held the sorrow of a world drowned in regret. "I am Nere," she sang, voice like tinkling glass. This realm was once the heart of all memory, waters that carried dreams to distant shores. But when sorrow fell upon me, I bound every hope in these depths. Now the lake reflects only pain. Elowen knelt by the shore, cupping water in her hand. The liquid felt impossibly heavy, as though bearing the weight of 100 broken hearts. In its depths, she glimpsed her own tears, moments of despair she had never shared. Nights she felt truly alone. "How can I free you?" Elowen asked. Neri drifted closer, each step leaving trails of mist on the water. "You must offer a new memory," she said, "a promise of what lies ahead, so that hope may outweigh regret. Speak your vow and cast it upon the waves. Elowen closed her eyes, took a steadying breath, and spoke with all her heart. I promise that if I save Lumora, I will carry its light back to my world. I will share its magic with those who have forgotten how to dream. She poured the vow into her cupped hands and let the water slip through her fingers. The ripples glowed, spreading across the lake. A warm light surged, dissolving the churning shadows below the surface. The water cleared, reflecting the trees, the sky, and Elowen's determined face. From the clearing depths, Nera retrieved a droplet of purest blue, crystallized into a tear-shaped gem. "Take the sigil of waters," she said, placing it in Elowen's palm. "May your pledge guide you." With a final smile, Neri sank back beneath the waves, leaving the lake calm once more. The path ahead shimmered with blue petals, leading toward the next realm. Elowen followed the azure trail until the forest's colors shifted again. Here, the ground was carpeted in flowers of fading red and purple, their petals curling and blackening at the edges. A choking, sweet scent filled the air, undercut by the bitter tang of rot. Every breeze stirred a swarm of pale moths that fluttered like broken dreams. In the center of this blighted garden stood an ancient rose bush, its thorns gnarled and leaves withered. From its shadow stepped a tall figure in a cloak of tangled vines. Blooms of every hue, once vibrant, clung to her hair but showed only signs of decay. "I am Isolde," she spoke, voice raspy as dry petals. "Guardian of the blooms, once my blossoms healed the broken and revived the weary, but sorrow turned them toxic. None drink their beauty without paying in pain." Elowen approached carefully. "What must I do to restore the blossoms?" Isolde held out a single withered rose. Its petals were brittle. "You must find the one true bloom at the heart of this grove, a flower born of pure joy. Present it to me, and I will cleanse this realm. But beware, many blossoms here will tempt you, promising power or comfort. Only the genuine joy flower will endure the corruption." Elowen wandered among crooked stems. The blighted flowers whispered in her ear, "Pick me, and I will grant you courage. Choose me, and you will never know sorrow. Each promise tugged at her heart. She felt the sting of loneliness, the ache of the memory she had sacrificed. Yet, she steeled herself against temptation. At the north edge of the grove, nestled beneath a twisted trunk, she discovered a single bloom unlike the rest. Its petals glowed pale pink, and their edges were unblemished. As she reached out, the corrupted flowers shrieked in fury, thorns lashing toward her. Elowen ducked beneath a vine, clutching the joy flower to her breast. With a cry of anguish, she plunged the bloom into the heart of the rose bush. The garden shuddered. Vines uncoiled, the moths lifted like drifting petals, and a wave of pure fragrance washed over the clearing. Blackened leaves burst into radiant color. Blossoms reopened in riotous life. Isolde, now free of decay's shadow, knelt before Elowen. Her cloak had transformed into living petals. From her hand, she extended a sigil shaped like a rose in full bloom. "You have purged the sorrow," she said, voice clear as sunlight. "May this sigil guide you onward." With 2 sigils safely stored and 2 to go, Elowen set her gaze on the final realms. Each step she took felt surer. The weight of doubt lifted by every choice of hope, every spark of courage rekindled. The path of rose petals gave way to cracked earth and a heat so intense it rippled the air. Elowen shaded her eyes as she entered the ember fields, a realm of smoldering grasses and rivers of liquid flame. Charred trunks of trees stood like ancient sentinels against a sky stained orange, and sparks drifted like fireflies in the haze. Each step echoed against hollow stones that glowed beneath her boots. She clutched her cloak tighter. The air shimmered around her, as though the world itself were aflame. In the distance, a colossal silhouette strode through the heat. Pyrrhus, guardian of flame, sculpted from living magma, with eyes like glowing coals. "You come for the sigil of fire," Pyrrhus's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "But fire is neither friend nor foe. It is change. To wield its power, you must embrace both creation and destruction." Elowen swallowed against the heat. "What must I do?" she called. Pyrrhus advanced, each footfall melting the ground. At the heart of this field stands the phoenix spire, a pillar of ash where life and death dance in flames' embrace. You must rekindle the pyre, not with fuel, but with compassion. Draw forth a spark of empathy for that which you once feared. Beyond Pyrrhus, she saw the pyre, a stone dais coated in powdery grey ash. Around it lay the skeletal remains of trees and scorched petals, remnants of hope consumed by flame's cruelty. Elowen stepped forward and knelt by a charred sapling. Though burned, new green shoots had begun to sprout at its base. Gently she cupped her hands and whispered words of comfort. "Grow, little one. Find strength in the warmth, not the burn." She placed her palms on the cold ash. A tremor coursed through the days. Flames blossomed where her hands touched, but they were cool and blue, like the first light of dawn. The pyre ignited in swirling petals of sapphire fire, illuminating the field with gentle radiance. The charred remains around her revived. Blackened branches unfurled into verdant wood, and the scorched petals transformed into dancing embers of hope. Pyrrhus bowed, offering Elowen a sigil forged of bronze and flame, its shape a phoenix mid-rebirth. "You have learned that even in destruction lies the seed of renewal," the guardian said. "Carry this lesson with you." As the ember fields cooled, petals glowing ember red paved a new path onward. The ember-lit path led Elowen to a silent clearing where night reigned eternal. Above her stretched a vault of stars, each one pulsing like the heartbeat of the universe. The air tasted of stardust and possibility. Here, the ground was soft, carpeted in sparkling midnight plumes that glowed underfoot. In the center stood a marble dais crowned with an astral globe, its surface etched in constellations that shifted and reformed like living maps. Hovering above it was Astraya, the celestial guardian, her form woven from galaxies. Her hair trailed behind her like a comet's tail. Her eyes held the light of 1,000 suns. Child of two worlds, she spoke in a voice that chimed like distant bells. To claim the final sigil, you must pass the trial of stars. Align the heavens to reveal your true purpose. Elowen approached the globe, tracing her fingertips over its surface. The constellations rearranged themselves at her touch. A stag, a rose, a phoenix, and a droplet of water, each symbol echoing her journey. Astrea stepped close. "See how your path has shaped the sky," she whispered. "Now, choose the pattern that will save Lumora. But remember, stars guide. They do not decide. Only your heart can complete the design." Elowen closed her eyes and recalled every challenge she'd faced. The shadows she'd soothed, the time she'd released, the promise she'd made, the sorrow she'd cleansed, and the rebirth she'd sparked. She touched the globe again, weaving the constellations into a radiant tapestry. The stag standing tall, the rose in full bloom at its feet, the phoenix ascending on flames, and the water droplet at the center, reflecting every star. The globe flared with light. Stars burst outward in arcs of silver, forming a luminous bridge to the sky itself. From this celestial bridge fell a single shining star, which Astrea caught and pressed into Elowen's palm. "This is the sigil of stars," she said. "It bears your own light. May it guide Lumora beyond every dark horizon." With the sixth sigil in hand, and only the heart tree remaining, Elowen felt the forest's breath quicken around her. At last, Elowen stood before the heart tree, a colossal oak whose bark glowed like burnished gold. Its roots spread like 1,000 arms, sinking deep into the earth. Where its crown should have been, an orb of pure light pulsed, diminished now to a flicker. The air thrummed with desperate energy. A path of swirling petals, amber, obsidian, silver, sapphire, rose, ember, and starlight, led to a hollow at the tree's base. There the silhouette of Aela, the stag, greeted her once more. "You bear all 7 sigils," the stag intoned. "Place them upon the tree, and its light will return. But be warned, the heart tree demands a final sacrifice, a tether to the dream realm. One memory you cherish most must remain behind, bound forever to its roots." Elowen's pulse thundered in her ears. She remembered Aunt Mara's lullabies and the laughter of her childhood. Yet she also remembered the joy flower's pure bloom, the empathetic spark that saved the ember fields, and the vow she made at the whispering waters. With calm resolve, she placed each sigil into the knots of golden bark. At once, the heart tree shuddered. Its light sputtered, then flared in a dazzling arc. The forest around her glowed with renewed vigor. Leaves shimmered anew, blossoms unfurled, and creatures of myth emerged to drink in the life-giving radiance. But as the tree revived, Elowen felt a tug at her mind, an echo of Ayla's words. One memory must stay. She closed her eyes and let the most painful recollection drift away. The moment of utter loneliness, when she first felt abandoned. In its place, she felt lightness, as though a weight had lifted. When she opened her eyes, the tree's orb pulsed strong and steady, bathing Lumora in golden light. Ayla bowed his head. "You have saved us all." Tears blurred Elowen's vision as she realized the price. Her first breath in the forest, the night she discovered the glowing petal, that initial tug on her heart, gone from her memory, but inscribed forever in Lumora's song. The revived forest gently guided Elowen back along the petal-strewn path to the edge of her village. Dawn broke in violet and rose, mirroring the glow of Lumora behind her. Village children danced among wildflowers reborn at the forest's edge. Aunt Mara waited on the lane, eyes wide with wonder and relief. "Elowen!" she cried, embracing her niece. "We feared you lost to the woods." Elowen smiled through tears. "Lumora is alive again," she whispered, "and it changed me forever." Though she no longer remembered the first glowing petal, she carried something far greater, a heart steeped in compassion, a spirit forged in trial, and a dream-woven bond with a world that exists in the space between reality and wonder. And every night, when moonlight and sunrise mingle just so, Elowen can feel Lumora's heartbeat in the gentle rustle of petals and the soft glow of colors under the stars. Proof that hope, once kindled, can bloom eternal. So, dear listeners, thank you for wandering through the glowing petals of Lumora with me tonight. If the story sparked wonder in your heart, don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who loves a little magic before bedtime. Make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you're always first to step into our next dream world. I'd love to hear from you. Which part of Lumora captured your heart the most? The singing shadows, the frozen time, or the ember fields? Share your favorite moment in the comments below. Until we meet again, may your dreams be filled with light, wonder, and endless adventures. Sleep well, dear dreamer. Good night.